of numbness and pins and needles. In fact, it's numbness and pins and needles are a really common symptom in general practice. But if you are on Dr. Google, don't panic yourself into something. Get back to the GP, get them to do a neurological examination. So that's where they bang your knees with a hammer and stick pins in you and check your sensation and your reflexes and stuff and run your bloods. Very important.
Okay, I hope that works out. Any cure for excessive sweat patches? Ask this person.
If you've been down the mainstream antiperspirant route, then you've got to go and talk to your pharmacist and try and get something stronger that's got aluminium chloride in it. There are other things you can do. You can do Botox to block your sweat glands. You can take pills to block your sweat glands, and you can get a little machine called an iontophoresis machine, which you can buy online, and you can stun your sweat glands into submission. So you give yourself little mini shocks, and it blocks the sweat glands. It's like using a stun gun on them. So there are several options, but what I would say is don't suffer in silence. Too many people use antiperspirants, which are, just ordinary things that will last for a few hours. Go and get something hardcore from the pharmacy first of all.
Okay, and you're okay with ordering some machine online that interferes with the function of your body?
No, there are a couple of reputable sites.
Okay.
Yeah, there are definitely, don't worry.
Right. Hi Pixie, I'm 37, a woman, and I've just discovered a bald patch at the back of my head. It's about the size of my hand. What should I do?
Sounds very much like alopecia. Get your doctor to take a look. It may well be in your family. About 1 in 5 people who have alopecia tend to have a family history of it. Your GP can initially maybe give you something like steroids. Sometimes that stimulates it to grow again. The other thing they can do is they can look at it and make sure that there isn't any scarring in the patch. With alopecia, the hair usually regrows, but you may find that you get another little bald patch coming up is sort of in sync with it, or just as it starts to recover, and the hair may come back grey or white. Also, again, here I go with my blood test, but your GP would need to do your thyroid, your iron levels, your auto-antibodies. Alopecia areata, where you get chunks of baldness, is very common in people under the age of 21, but anyone can get it. We think it's an autoimmune disorder, so they probably want to run some blood tests to check for that.
Please, Dr. Pixie, I have a bad odour from my nose. If my nose waters, it is offensive. Please help.
Again, someone needs to have a look up, probably do a swab, see if you've got an infection, make sure you haven't got a foreign body up there. Usually kids, if they have a runny nose that smells, they've stuck a tire of a dinky or something up their nose. But I suppose your listeners are probably above that kind of age group. Just someone needs to take a look. Occasionally as well, it can be the sign of something not necessarily in your nose, but a problem at the back of your throat. So if there's no obvious cause and you haven't got an infection, then your doctor might want to send you to an ear, nose and throat specialist who would scope it.
My 15-year-old son is plagued with acne. I've been using a cleansing toning and antibacterial topical cream formulated for acne twice a day for 2 months with no real improvement. Is the next step the GP or straight to a dermatologist? Are there any medications that you would advise or avoid, getting to the point where this is affecting his self-esteem and confidence? Thank you.
Hugely important. Get your son to the GP, get them to a GP that they can talk to. It takes a while, even if you're paying for it privately, to get an appointment with a dermatologist, so your GP might be able to start them on something like an antibiotic, oral antibiotic. I don't think we take acne half as seriously as we should. It's a really, really awful thing to get when you're a teenager, and while I know we all kind of got a bit of it at times, some people get hit really hardly with it, and we have to look at the bigger picture. Psychologically, it really affects. Boys particularly are very slow to get treatment, so go to the doctor and encourage him to chat to the doctor.
Okay. Any cure for, this comes up often, any cure for restless leg syndrome? I forget what you said the last time.
Stop caffeine, stop alcohol, make sure you've got lots of iron, get your iron levels checked. There are tablets you can take, but they do have side effects. But try not to exercise before you go to bed late at night. Try and do some relaxing before you go to bed in terms of relaxing your muscles. But if it's really, really severe, speak to your doctor. You can get something to put the legs to sleep. So caffeine's really bad. Completely decaf and completely get rid of alcohol and all of those kind of stimulants, like the high energy drinks and things.
Okay. What happens then? Life sounds very boring. No, I'm joking. I gave up smoking 6 months ago, but now I have awful pains in my legs. Help.
Probably nothing to do with the smoking, although it can affect the blood vessels in your legs. So it may...
Just coincidence, is it?
Probably is, yeah, probably is. But if they, go get your GP to take a look, get them to check the pulses in your legs, because if there is a problem with your circulation, then you'll have poor circulation, and they'll be able to check that by doing the examination on you.
Okay, last one. Last Monday, my husband was on a flight to London. He got up at 5 to get the flight, was tired when he boarded. He fell asleep and woke up when an air hostess shook him to ask him if he was okay. He was saturated in sweat, so much so that he had to change his shirt and trousers when he got off. The air hostess gave him a bar of chocolate. He felt so weak he couldn't even open the bar. By the time he got to London, he had recovered and walked off the flight. What could cause this? He has since had blood pressure, blood sugar levels and an ECG done, all normal. He was waiting on his blood test results.
Well, I mean, if he's had all those would have been the things I would have said to get done, so they would answer the question. It may not have been anything. He may have, if he'd taken sleeping tablets or anything like that, he may have, was he on a long haul or a short haul flight?
Flight to London.
Oh, London, only an hour. He might have had some kind of an anxiety attack or a dream if he was asleep. It doesn't sound like anything sinister if all of his bloods were normal.
Yeah, it could have been just a once-off.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on it. That's what I'd say.
That's absolutely right. You're thinking about the medical negligence there, right? That's absolutely right.
I think I would have been a great doctor. Anyway, Dr. Vixen McKenna, thank you very much.
Nice to talk to you.
Bye now.
Okay, bye.
The Ray Darcy Show on RTE Radio 1.
This will be the biggest Christmas ball you'll ever experience. The 2FM Christmas Ball, December 23rd, 3 Arena, Cozy Earth, Little Green Cars, The Riptide Movement, Gavin James, Ryan Sheridan, Hudson Taylor, and more to be announced. The 2FM Christmas Ball in aid of the ISPCC. Tickets from €45, including booking fee, on sale Friday at 9 a.m. The 2FM Christmas Ball in aid of the ISPCC.
The nights are drawing in, and this year's beach break is just a distant memory. But here's a ray of sunshine. Right now at Falcon, you can kickstart next summer and book Summer 16 today, with new places to anticipate like Jamaica and Mexico, plus all your Falcon favourites, including Splash World, holiday villages, free child places and more. Secure Summer 16 today with a low deposit and have months to pay it off. Book online at falconholidays.ie. Call us or visit a Falcon travel shop, part of the TUI Group. Terms and conditions apply.
It's tax return time again for self-employed and PAYE earners with rental income. PaylessTax.ie is your one-stop shop. So beat the tax deadline for just €80 plus VAT. PaylessTax.ie. Online tax returns. Easier, faster, cheaper. PaylessTax.ie.
The leaves are falling, and so are the wow prices in the Eason Autumn Reading Promotion. Catch the new Russell Carroll Kelly for $14.99. Get Henry Shefflin's story for $19.99. Hear from Stephen Jarrett himself for $14.99. And unlock Sister Secrets with Kathy Kelly for $13.99. Wow.
Eason, be inspired.
Dunn Stores Weekly Wonders. This week we have Halloween offers on Cadbury, Nestle and Mars treat size range, 83 for €5. Cadbury Kids multi-pack range, 5 for just €5. And 7-Up Club and Pepsi 18-pack cans, an amazing €6 each. Plus our Shop and Save promotion continues. Get €10 off your next grocery shop with every €50 you spend. Dunn Stores, always better value. See in store for details.
Join Richard Curran every Saturday on The Business.
We'd have a very nice dinner, a decent bottle of wine, and then they would take out the list of the 20 stupid things I said in the day.
I had heart surgery last month, and I came back to work the next day. I came in because I wanted to.
We're a couple of Broadway producers. We want to produce your show. It was like, I don't know what I'm getting into.
It's not just business, it's people. The Business, Saturday mornings at 10 on RTE Radio 1.
The Ray Darcy Show on RTE Radio 1 with Volkswagen. Like your favorite radio show, you won't move from a Volkswagen Tiguan.
There you go. David Creighton died 33 years ago this Halloween. Davey was a DJ around Kildare, and he was the best DJ around Kildare. Actually, he had all the gear, the best gear, and I remember sort of going along to things he did and looking up to him, going, someday I'll be like you, David Creighton. And then one night coming back from the gig, I think what happened was the trailer on the back of the car sort of jackknifed with the car. Anyway, Davey died 33 years ago today, and his brother tunes in by way of keeping the memory of Davey alive, which is a nice thing. So good afternoon to you. Now, we've spoken to Keith Duffy on a number of occasions over the years, and then on the TV we had Keith and Jay, and we we've spoken about Mia, and the woman who sort of keeps all together is Lisa Duffy. And she's sitting in front of me. Lisa, we have to have Mia in next week.
Yes.
Anyway, good to see you. And you're an ambassador for the Bord Gáis Energy Donation Library.
Yes.
And details of that are on bordgaisenergybookclub.ie. And the Bord Gáis Energy will donate books and library furniture to 7 worthy charities or community projects to the value of €1,500 each, which is a lot of books.
It is.
If you want to find out more about that, it's bordgaisenergybookclub.ie. And I know that Mia, we've spoken with your husband Keith about your daughter Mia and her results in the junior cert, and she obviously reads a lot.
She does. I mean, books were not a big part of her life when she was younger because obviously speech was late coming to me. But now she just enjoys a book so much. I mean, we've just been away, and while we were there, she's sitting on the deck, reading the book, having a great time. She learns a lot now from books, and it's very relaxing for her, very enjoyable, and she likes facts. So if it's a book that she's getting plenty of facts out of, that's when she's happy. Yeah.
So you mentioned the deck, so you're on a cruise, no less.
We were indeed, yes. Went out to join the hubby who was doing a show on the Britannia, and a cooking show actually with Marco Pierre White, and himself and 4 other celebrities had to cook a different dish in every port that we called into.
Okay.
So yeah, it was very
What was the
interesting.
dish sort of?
It was inspired by where they were.
Exactly.
So they were.
What ports were you in?
Well, I flew out to Rome and then went to a port there. I can't remember the name, a very strange name. And they cooked obviously Italian food there.
Yes, yeah.
Then we went down into the south of France. So
Nice.
that was when Keith was head chef that night for the French food. And then we went to where was it? I was going to say Capri, but it wasn't there. Oh, I can't remember. We were in Corsica. Yeah,
Yes.
which was fabulous as well.
Yes.
So the whole idea is that you go out, taste the food, come back, and then Marco gives you dishes to do for the yeah. So he loved
When's
it.
that going out?
Not until February,
Okay.
but it was a great experience for me. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I don't let him cook a lot at home because he makes a terrible mess.
See, yeah. I would imagine that you, because in talking to Keith, I said to Jenny,
Yeah.
if you know, to make an omelette, you have to break a few eggs, and to
That's
cook,
very true.
you have to make a bit of a mess.
You do.
Yeah.
You just make the boys seem to make a lot more.
Do they?
Yes. Yeah.
You see, Keith, and Mia is, I suppose, the person in your family that gets talked about most, and I know sometimes she doesn't like it, but Keith was wonderful the last time he was in on the radio talking about Mia and how proud he was and how she changed him and he became a better man because of Mia. But all the time Jenny was going, well, Lisa's there. Lisa, when Keith was away touring the world with Boys On, etc., it was Lisa who was keeping the home fires burning.
Absolutely.
And when you heard that Mia was diagnosed with autism, how did you react?
Yeah, we both had very different reactions. For me, it was, first of all, it's a huge shock. And I think as a mother, every dream you have for your child, in an instant, it changes. And their future. And it was a hard journey for me at the start. I stayed home a lot. I found it difficult to be around other children. And I think that's where myself and Keith went different ways. He became, he just threw himself into finding.
Energized by it
Yes,
in a
he
way,
was.
yes.
He wanted to find out.
And you were sort of paralysed in a way.
And
weren't
I
you?
was a little bit, shell-shocked. I really was. And then having to tell our story, which was a very personal one, I found that quite difficult for a long time. But I'm much more comfortable with it now because I have a much nicer story to tell now.
Yes.
We're at a stage now where Mia is doing fantastically well. I'm very proud of her, and I really do believe that she has a great future ahead of her. So it's much easier to tell a story like that than when we were 12 years ago.
Yeah.
It was difficult.
Yeah. How long are you married to Keith now?
Nearly 18 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And Jay is 19, so you were fornicating before you were married.
Do not say that out loud.
That's the official term for it.
Absolutely, yes.
Myself and Jenny were fornicating before we were married as well.
She's going to give out you for that now.
How did you meet him? Was he in Boys On?
He was only starting out. He was he was studying actually to be an architect when I first met him.
Was he?
Yes, he
I
was.
didn't know that about him.
Yes, that's what Keith was doing. But he spent more time calling in to see me in the shop I worked in. And then he came in one day and said to me, I'm going to join a boy band. And I said, get out of here. And he said, no, honestly, he said, what have I got to lose?
今はコネマラに入りました。ウエストポートを出まして約20分ですか。アイルランドの原風景が残っていると言われる、世界的にファンが多い、まさにアイルランドらしいアイルランド、コネマラ地方です。
We've a good companionship, and he still makes me laugh a lot, which is a great thing, you know. And you can do that. Yeah, he is, and he has a huge heart, an absolute huge heart. So I have to say it's got better as the years have gone on. Yeah.
Has it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
He's a hard worker, and he has to work.
ここはコネマラボグって言って、いわゆる独特の土壌ですよね。道路は舗装されてますけど、走ると分かるんですけど、ホワンホワンしてて。フラットじゃないんですよ。舗装してるんだけど緩やかな起伏がある舗装、これがいわゆるコネマラの特徴です。羊飼いさんとかね、昔ながらのその伝統が今でもある。でなおかつクリフデン、ゴールウェイといった都市にも近いということで世界的にツーリストが来ますね。今は秋なんでひときわ去ってますけど、夏はすごいっすよ。でここ車がもう何十台でトラクターとかが引っ張っちゃって追い越しようがないんですよ。ここ非常にタイトでナローでカーブ多いんで危険でしょ。だからもう夏の大渋滞有名なんで、車いなかったら110、120出す人もいますけど、80から90ぐらいで走るのが一番楽しいんじゃないですかね。非常に自然が豊かで、今日はコネマラの1日目ですけども、明日はもっと奥に行きます。今日は僕の大好きなヒズンジェムス、一押しなんですけど、あんまり人には教えたくないんですけど、リネインっていうすごい綺麗なところを入れますけど、そこにストップいたします。コネマラ地方です。
I was just saying earlier on, I'd love to think that Jay might someday be talking about being in a Bond movie. Wouldn't that be fantastic? But look, his passion's there. This is what he really wants to do.
And he has your looks, I suppose.
Well, everyone tells me he's more like me, yeah. And I think me's more like her daddy. Yeah, we've both got one like each of us. Yeah.
Because now that Keith is like it's. I got a sense from Keith the last time that it's difficult enough for him, wasn't it? Because there was Coronation Street, and now he's back and he's doing the play again, and because he doesn't have a steady thing.
No.
How are you with that?
I suppose it's just a bit of life now. It's the way we've lived.
Yeah.
So you just get on with it. I mean, it's nice to know. I think he's booked up now until the end of March for work,
Right.
which is great, and a lot of it is here in Ireland, which is even better. Because I get to know him, and he's home most nights. I know he's doing the panto in Limerick at Christmas, but that's only 2 hours away. I'll go down there and hang out with him for a while anyway. Mia loves the panto. It's always a great time. So it's just the way we've lived. I mean, I'd love to think someday he might be able to just stay put with me. But for now...
Unless he goes back to the architecture.
I don't think so, no.
And you were at Ronan and Storm's wedding.
Yes, I was, yes.
But you're friendly with Yvonne, is that?
No, people say that to me, is it weird? It's absolutely fine. It's fine because both of them are happy in where they're at now. Yvonne is a great girl, and I have great fun with her. And I have to say, Ronan and Storm are a great laugh as well. So, no, it works fine. It really does.
Good. Well, it's great to see you, and I'm glad we eventually got to talk. Talk to me as opposed to...
Can I just ask everybody that the whole idea of this campaign is, obviously we're talking about the love of books, sharing the love of books and reading, but it's really important that people nominate.
Yes, and I'll give that address again. www.boardgashenergybookclub.ie.
Yes.
And there's 7 €1,500 packages of books and private furniture available there, so it's boardgashenergybookclub.ie. Lisa, look, thank you very much.
Thank you so
Mary
much.
Wilson's on the way with Drive Time. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 3.
Ray Darcy Show on RT Radio 1 with the new 152 Volkswagen range, where you get so much more, just like with the new Volkswagen.
Drive Time on RT Radio 1 with Ulsterbank. When you commit to your business around the globe, we commit to it around the clock. Ulsterbank. Help for what matters.
Thanks, Ray. Hello, good afternoon. You're very welcome to Thursday's Drive Time. Coming up on today's programme, Connor's family begin their final journey children. Also legislation to give effect to Budget 2016 published today. We'll have health policy analyst Sarah Burke in studio and clear the windscreen of NCT tax and insurance discs. The text is 51551. The tweet drive time RTE. The email is drivetime@rte.ie. Today, 5 more victims of the Carrickmines fire were remembered at a funeral ceremony in Dublin. In his homily at the Church of the Assumption in Ballally, Father Derek Farrell of the parish of the Travelling People recalled Thomas and Sylvia Connors and their 3 children, Jim, Christy and Mary.
Thomas and Sylvia, as a couple, were seen as a match made in heaven. Deeply loving and devoted to each other, they never left each other's side. They never seemed to fall out or have any serious argument. They were very close as man and woman, husband and wife. Married nearly 8 years, they first met in Bray. After the wedding, they moved in immediately with the extended family in Burton Hall, then for a short while in West Michael, before the move over 7 years ago to their Leenane home. They were, it said, the best father and mother that any children could ask for. John, aged 5 years, lived to stay with his grandparents, Jim and Jojo. He was a lovely boy, a very happy boy. Christy was full of life, by times quiet. A big boy for his age, Daddy and Mummy's little boy, and up until baby Mary's arrival, the baby. Jim and Christy were very close brothers, very close to their aunts and uncles, and very clever for their age, and both were waiting on the birth of their baby sister. Baby Mary was aged just 5 months. When baby Mary came, she was much treasured by the whole family.
Father Derek Farrell in his homily at today's funeral mass. Kevin Keane of the Irish Daily Mail was at the ceremonies in Ballally, and another very sad day. Kevin, will you describe the scenes for us?
Yes, an extremely sad day, most especially because this was the church where Thomas and Sylvia had spent most of their happiest moments, is what we heard. And as the 5 coffins were wheeled out of the church, it really was a heartbreaking scene. Each of the coffins getting smaller, with first Thomas and Sylvia's, and then Jim, 5-year-old Jim, his younger brother Christy, and of course their 5-month-old sister Mary, who was told was the baby of the family. Each of their small white coffins getting smaller and loaded into 5 black hearses. So extremely sad scenes. Their grandparents, Jim and Joe Connors, were looked on and were comforted by relations, and many members of the public, in fact, turned out to, I guess, show their solidarity with the Connors.
はい、ここからゴールウェイ県に入ります。カウンティーゴールウェイ。
Wexford and burial there tomorrow after another evening of prayers. 2 of the little children in the Connors family survived the
で、もう
tragedy.
一つ
Do you
ここで
know
ウェルカムトゥコネ
how
マ
they're
ラ
being cared for by
コネ
members
マラの看板
by members of the wider family?
Yes, well, Thomas Connors, who was the second youngest of the family, he was in intensive care following the blaze. He was in hospital. His older brother Mick Connors was unhurt, and he was present today.
コーヒーショップやってますね。ここのコーヒー美味しいんですよ。オフシーズン閉まってること多いんだけど、やってるね、まだ。オフっつってもまあ10月だから、多分12月とかでやんないと思いますけど。
If we come back to the homily from Father Derek Farrell, he made a point about making out of this tragedy, making it matter, and talking about it that it should be a watershed moment. What else did he say on that theme?
He did. He said that the moment demands a new departure for relations between the settled and the traveller communities. He said we need to get it to make deaths and the loss involved in this tragedy matter to our whole society. He said it's a lasting and meaningful tribute to those devastated in the tragedy. We must build on the immediate gestures of generosity and sympathy. He also said that there are lessons to be learned from the deaths. He said we must learn to walk in the shoes of the other. We are to develop genuinely inclusive and pluralistic society.
この独特の入り江が僕は大好きなんですけど、いいね。到着です。
Here's what Geraldine Dunn, director of Southside Travellers, had to say to reporters.
The families are still, as you see, in a very bad way. They're grieving really, really badly, and they're laying their loved ones to rest, as you know, tomorrow. It's been really tough last 12 days. They aren't really with the world right now, is all I can say. Can you tell us about this new site in Ballyogan and how yourselves are reacting to it and the families? The family themselves are relieved that they will have someone after the funerals and coming home from Wexford, that they will have a place to stay. It isn't ideal. It is an unserviced site, but the last one that they were in was the same. It was unserviced too, so the council will put in facilities, and at the moment that's where they will stay for a couple of months temporary until something else is sorted for the family. There have to be another accommodation provided for this family as quickly as possible. We were waiting for a good solution and a positive solution, and I think it would have been best if the solution could have been positive for everyone involved. All I have to say to the residents in Rockville is that, you know, it took a long time. We would have preferred if it had to be in a positive